Welcome to African World Studies 101, lesson number 3. Today we're going to look at how the system of racism, white supremacy is maintained. So let's get to it. So how is this system maintained? It's maintained by using deceit, violence, the threat of violence, and injustice or inequity. So I want to take each one of these and break them down a little bit. It's maintained through deceit, another word for lying. This is how this system is maintained, and it cannot be maintained any other way. The only way that the notion that white people are superior to everybody else is to make sure that it's not challenged, and they have to lie about everybody else. So for example, black people, they had said at one point and still believe that we were not humans, and they had to convince the rest of the world of that same thing. That's the reason for that hierarchical construct that I gave in the previous lesson of the classification, putting black people at the bottom. In order to maintain that system, they cannot allow our history to be freely and correctly and truthfully taught, because it is a direct challenge to their notion of this superiority. And so if you ever wonder why it's not taught in the school systems and why you don't know this or why you don't know that, that's not by accident. That is by design. The next component is violence. If you want to control of people, the number one direct way to gain control of people is through violence. And this is a kind of gross comparison, but think about what a pimp does to a woman. He uses violence to gain control of her, isolate her, and use violence. This is an old concept. This is what they did to our people when they kidnapped us. They used violence to let us know that they were in control. And where they don't use violence, they use the threat of violence. And when we think about it now, when we encounter the police, there is that threat of violence that looms over us. You know, we don't want to make any missteps, don't want to say anything wrong, because we know the violence that can occur. So it's ever present, this threat of violence to maintain white supremacy. Don't step out of line is what they want us to do and want us to say. And then you have the system of injustice and inequity, which we know about. There's two so-called justice systems in this system, one for them and one for us and everybody else. We understand that they cannot allow their justice system to work for us. When their justice system begins to work for us, they simply change the rules so that the rules work for them and the rules don't work for us. And so this is why this DEI, this big thing about DEI and what Trump is attempting to do is so important, because what they're trying to do is wind the clock back to a time that has passed, because as they see it, we have gotten too much control, and it's just an illusion, because black people are the last people on the rung to benefit from DEI, but that's another entire subject. Next, we're going to look at, what are we going to look at? We're going to look at the areas of life impacted by racism, white supremacy. And you don't want to miss this, because I'm going to go into each one of these areas. It's going to step on some toes. I know, I understand it, but truth will set you free. I'll see you in the next session, and leave your comments. Ask me any questions that you want in the comments.